I think I see a lot of people joining. I think we can probably go ahead and get started. My name is Warren Wilson. I'm with Netsync, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to join the Netsync and Meraki Public Safety Pizza Cast. Netsync has been a business for over 15 years. We basically design and employ a lot of innovative IT solutions. We're one of Cisco Meraki's largest SLED partners in the nation. A lot of that is because we're able to help the clients digitally transform their organization and utilize best-in-breed technology to help them make informed and impactful business decisions. Like I said, we've been doing that for over 15 years, and we have several practices that kind of help us to deliver that great solution for our customers. We have an enterprise networking practice, which plays a big part. Everything that you're going to put on your network, including MV cameras, we really have to make sure have a robust environment to thrive. We have a data center practice, which can help down the road if you need from additional storage or other items. We have a cloud practice, which really helps with these MV cameras. They have the ability with an RTSP stream that we could stream them to the cloud and really take benefit of some of the analytics that reside in the cloud to give you a more innovative camera and really get some things out of it. We have a cybersecurity practice, which really everything we do at Netsync, we ensure if it's going on your environment that it's secure. Cameras are no exception. We definitely want to make sure that all these are secured. We have a wireless and mobility practice, which is great. Cameras aren't just physical security cameras anymore. They're smart devices. So you can see Cisco and Meraki have a lot of things that you can do. You can do RTSP streams to have cameras go to the cloud. You can do RTLS where you can do asset tracking. So essentially in this day and time, you could track someone throughout a facility, but it really comes to life when you can not only correlate that information, but with a view from an MV camera. It really makes it very powerful. We have a managed services and a customer experience practice. So not only can we help you design, install, and maintain it, long-term, we definitely can help you manage your solution as well as throughout the life cycle of it. We have a collaboration practice, and this is really exciting. We have our own in-house Olympus platform that can now take the RTSP string from Meraki cameras, and it can do a lot of really neat things. It can trigger lights to go on or off, doors to lock or unlock. We can put IP paging messages, either pre-recorded or after the fact, go out to an entire campus or district. We could send events out to video endpoints, digital signage, smart classroom boards, a lot of different things that really create a powerful, safe, and secure environment. We have an IoT practice, which you may think these smart cameras can go out throughout downtown and be on street poles. They really are not just cameras anymore. They are endpoints. We have an optical WAN practice that we can help to join all of your sites together. An end-user compute practice, which I know is really coming out today with a lot of one-to-one initiatives. We definitely can help you that. And then a physical security practice that my name is Warren Wilson. I'm the physical security practice manager, and I can help you out with that. Not only can we help you come and design, select the appropriate cameras, we can help you install and maintain and optimize it. We like the MV solution so much, we basically have partnered with many of their access controls. You can have a full end-to-end solution that's in the cloud with not only video surveillance and access control. We've partnered with a lot of the analytics companies as well. So you not just have a camera, but you can do facial recognition, license plate recognition, and a lot of really powerful solutions. The next, why we really think that we can really help you is focusing on the SLED environment. We maintain a lot of the contracts that are basically the state and local education. We're here in Texas, and I know that we're talking to Texas Environment. So we're on the DIR contract, so we can definitely help with any of these solutions through the DIR contract. So basically, we can help any of these. So if you hear anything you like to talk about today, please contact your local Netsync rep or a Cisco Meraki rep, and we can help you talk about that. I'm going to turn it over to Meraki now so they can go over kind of some solution stuff and some demonstrations. If you have any questions throughout this, please, everyone's muted, but there's a Q&A at the bottom of the presentation. Please ask any questions throughout. We'll basically stop the presentation and answer these as we go along. So now I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and Chris is going to go over the Meraki solution.
Thanks, Warren. So my name is Chris Ronderos. I'm a solutions architect with Cisco Systems. I'm on the Cisco Meraki team. My partner in crime, Tim Bender, is here as well. He's my sales counterpart. My understanding is that we've got a bunch of technical folks on the phone, and so we're going to spend some time going through the Meraki physical surveillance, the Cisco Meraki physical surveillance solution. Like Warren mentioned, this solution can be integrated with access control, with analytics packages, with DNA spaces for, to correlate your wireless location info and your camera info. There's a bunch of different ways to leverage these IoT endpoints. We're going to start using it. I'll talk through how they work, start at the 101, and then we will build into how those different solutions can be put together. We already have a question about cameras being able to work with VPN and SIM cards. I'll get there. You're just a few slides ahead of me. While we don't have cameras with integrated cellular, we do have separate outdoor cellular uplink devices that you could use, and they work over VPN or without VPN, which I'll get to in just a second. So Cisco Meraki was an acquisition Cisco made like 8 years ago. I was at Cisco at the time. I've been at Cisco a good while. I didn't get all that sweet startup money that apparently all the folks that came in with the acquisition got. But yeah, so the whole point here is to simplify powerful technology so that people can focus on their missions, right? Because your mission is to educate or to make people safe, to ensure security for a population. Your mission isn't to run cameras. The platforms that we're going to be talking about here, we're going to focus on the security cameras, but I do like to mention that there's a bunch of other solutions that are all managed through a single pane of glass. So we've got wireless access points, we've got switches, we've got SD-WAN, teleworker, cellular gateways, which I'll get to when I hit Joseph Y's question in a few minutes, and the security cameras. They're all managed through the single pane of glass. And that management platform is in the cloud, right? But we've all seen the shirt. The cloud is just someone else's computer. In this case, the Meraki dashboard is hosted in Cisco data centers with 4 nines of uptime, 5 nines of uptime. Everything's fully redundant, so an active and a warm standby and a tertiary cold standby, all managed by Cisco. Cisco servers in Cisco data centers and Cisco cages at high-end colos around the world. So wherever you are, you're connecting to a resilient, secure, highly available management plane. Joseph, thank you. Helping other people to manage the cameras is a big part of this. When I work into the interface, you'll see this is the sort of solution that we can get IT out of having to pull video for the security team. Because in a lot of organizations, you end up with the security team watches the cameras, they need video, they have to go pull in IT to actually figure out how to export video. This is a solution that folks without an IT background can manage and operate. I will mention real quick, your data doesn't go to the cloud. Metadata goes to the cloud, but the video doesn't. We'll get there in a second. So whether you're talking about an AP or a camera, there's a secure tunnel that the device builds up to the cloud. And that allows us to be very compliant with a variety of, whether it's HIPAA or PCI or what have you, because we're not sending any of your private information across the internet to our data centers, which are very secure. We're just sending metadata. We're sending, information about who's connected where, but we're not actually sending the bulk data that's being transmitted. And for the cameras, we're not sending the video up to the cloud unless you want to do cloud storage, which is a whole different thing. Licensing and support is also very straightforward. Each camera has a single subscription, and that includes all your software updates, all of your access to the dashboard, tech support 24/7, 8x5 NBD hardware replacement. The lifetime warranty doesn't apply on cameras, unfortunately, but there's a couple of years of hardware warranty on the cameras that can be extended as well. So it's a very straightforward operation where if you wanted to roll out cameras with your organization, Joseph Y., I'll call you out because you keep asking questions. you buy X cameras and X subscriptions, and that's the solution. And so how is that the whole solution? The secret to this solution, the glue that makes it work, is that our primary retention method is on camera. So this is an edge storage or distributed storage, whatever you want to call it. Each camera retains video locally. So what that means is you can deploy cameras at scale, whether you've got 1 or 100, whether they're on your network or not, whether they're in a parking lot or over at a park or on a school campus or in a early education center that's some rehabbed building that you've got at the other end of town. You can hang cameras, and as long as they're powered, they run and they store the video locally. So a VPN isn't strictly required. Now, Warren mentioned Olympus. These cameras do support RTSP streaming. So naturally, if you need to stream the video to an analytics package like Olympus or in an integration like Olympus, you would need a VPN tunnel for that. But the sort of traditional deployment method where you're not integrating with RTSP, they don't necessarily need VPN tunnels. We got a variety of models: indoor, outdoor, dome, fisheye, varifocal, but the guts of all these cameras are the same. So when I start talking about functionalities that these cameras can do, all these cameras that end with a 2 have the same hardware under the hood. They all have the same, they all have processors under the hood. Each of these cameras does edge analytics because they each have an SoC processor in the camera to do analytics. Each camera has storage on board. Each camera has Wi-Fi on board, as well as an Ethernet connection. So all of that is universal across the cameras. We recently launched a couple of cameras with increases in storage, right? Up to, we have 512 now in our 22X and 72X. And again, that changes the retention period that you would get in the cameras. And finally, we do have a cloud retention option. Again, we're starting at the high level and working our way down. If you need specific retention requirements, if you need 365 days of retention, 256 gig is a lot, or 512 gig is a lot, but you're not going to get 365 days on it. We can stream video to the cloud. This is a solution where you need internet uplink and we're streaming to the cloud, where we can then have offsite storage in the cloud of that video with no change in your user experience. So I'll show you when I hop in the demo, but it's the same interface whether you're pulling from the cloud archive or from the camera. And so this is sort of the architecture, right? You've got the camera. If you're on net, if you're local to the camera, like in the city office building in City Hall, and you pull up a camera, the video just streams directly to you from the camera. So it doesn't use any of your internet bandwidth. Live stream, full resolution. If you're off net, if you're somewhere else, if an officer in a car needs to pull up a video of a school or of a park, they can have access to that via the internet. They log in with secure credentials, and that video gets bounced off the cloud and proxied off the cloud and sent directly to that client. So remote access is built in without any VPN clients, without any strict requirements for operating systems or Java or any of that stuff. It just runs in a browser. And the video, like I said, is retained on the camera. There are other options. We have cloud retention. We have RTSP into Olympus and other solutions like that. But the kind of primary storage that I'll be talking about is that on-camera storage. And I hope, Joseph, to answer your question about VPN and SIM cards, cellular I'll get to in a second, but I hope it makes sense that this is a really slick solution for parking lots and for parks and for small remote locations where maybe you don't have much connectivity. You don't need fiber to pull, a multi-megabit stream per camera from the location. You can hang cameras somewhere and they don't consume any internet bandwidth or any network bandwidth at all until you access them, until you watch the video. And since most of the cameras are not actively monitored, and most cameras, most of the time, the video never gets seen at all until something happens, those cameras can just sit out there with a 4G uplink that's very lightly used for just management metadata traffic and run without until you need them, and then you click the button and the video streams directly to you. Let me show you a little bit about how this works. So I've got, I'm signed out. This is a highly secure interface, requires logins, and it'll time you out if you don't log in, if you don't click enough times. I will mention that sign-on recently was integrated with Cisco SecureX. So Cisco systems across our cloud solutions, Umbrella, AMP, Meraki, etc., has rolled out a single sign-on solution. So you can have a single login across the solutions from Cisco that run in the cloud. So that was recently launched on Meraki as well. So you can log in with that. Here I can see a dashboard. I'm focusing on the cameras here, but you'll see this particular site has wireless and switches and security. All of that can be managed from here as well, but I'm going to focus on the cameras. Joseph just asked another follow-up question. I want to make sure to answer it. RTSP is a stream. So if you wanted the camera to stream a live feed to another solution, like a storage solution or an NVR or Olympus with analytics, that's what RTSP allows you to do, is to have the camera simultaneously retain on camera and stream somewhere else. And then there's the question of what happens if someone steals the camera. That is a common question, and the answer is it depends, right? If you've got one camera and it's hanging up there and you don't have it integrated with anything else, and someone steals it, you did lose that video. That is how the architecture works. If you've got the video cloud archived, you'd still have the video. If you've got the video RTSP streamed into Olympus, you'd still have the video. But if you're running just on-camera storage, that if the camera gets stolen, you lost that video. The flip side is you don't have a single point of failure. So if you have 100 cameras today and your NVR dies, gets a Coke spilled on it, the RAID card fails, something like that happens, it is possible to lose the video of many cameras. And that's a thing that sometimes happens in the real world, right? Your single recording server where all your video is stored can have problems. And so the flip side of that is in this solution, there is no central single point of failure. So there's no...
Hopefully, Chris, with some of the design considerations when we would help lay it out, we would have, if somebody were to take one camera, hopefully they would be picked up by another camera before they got there or after there. So unless they went around and physically took every single camera, you would be able to capture
right.
it.
Warren, that's an excellent point. Also, the camera design is very important. That's why we have experts like Netsync to make sure we lay out the cameras correctly so that you have overlapping fields of coverage. So that, if someone steals a camera, you've got other cameras that are also going to see that took place. So back to the demo, if you don't mind. Here I am in dashboard. I log in. I have a list of cameras here. I can have from 1 to 10,000 or more cameras. I can use tags. So there's a bunch of different columns I can add on this table. I'll just add tags here. These tags can allow me to organize my cameras so I can quickly find all of the first floor cameras. I can also tie users to these tags. So I can have internal or external users have access to specific subsets of cameras. That's how I can then have local police, emergency response services, or a school principal or a building manager could have a login. They log into, login.meraki.com, and then they log in and see just the cameras that they have access to. When I hop into a specific camera, I can pull the video feed. So this is a camera in a room full of bicycles, very common building camera solution, particularly in San Francisco, where everyone rides their bikes to work. There's not many bikes in here at the moment because of coronavirus. So another question from Mitchell. Mitchell, do cameras have a motion or tamper sensor that can upload the latest video if they get shaken? No. That's a feature request. It's something they're looking at, but today there is nothing like that in the solution. Here I can see my video. This is a 1080p shot. We also have 4K available on the cameras. The most frequently used functionality here is to go find an event that happened, right? I can jump to a specific date or time using, I could type in like 2 p.m. yesterday or whatever. It also speaks Spanish, so I could type 2 p.m. ayer. I can look at here and see the little yellow spots where there have been motion events in the feed, but I can also do a search. So I can search and say, I want to know the last time someone walked by right here. And it will fill in, and at the moment I'm only searching the last hour or so. So let's say last Friday as my start for the search, and it'll search all the retention on the camera for the last time, for whenever there was motion in this area. And look, I've got a fellow walking by. These motion searches automatically generate a still image. This is a still image that shows you what happened, particularly for events that involve people or automobiles moving. This is a very handy functionality that recaps the event. So I can quickly look and say, that's the fellow with the bike that I was looking for. He came in at another time without a bicycle, and now he's leaving with a bicycle. I need to grab this video. I can play the video. I can export the video from this web interface. And again, I can do that from anywhere, right? The video is secure. It's fully encrypted. My connection is encrypted. But I could drag a box and click search, and maybe that's an easy enough process that other people on your team, whether they're on the help desk or whether they're building managers or principals or local security officers, can drag a box and click search and find the thing that happened by looking at these really handy images, right? Here's the image of the guy walking. I can click play. I can watch that video. It spins up and streams to me while the camera naturally is still recording the current events. Yep, here's a person walking in. They're wearing their mask. That's good. This event is July the 11th at 6:31 p.m., and that is local time. The cameras, since they're connected to the cloud, know what time it is. I can take screenshots. I can share this link internally. I can take a link and send it to someone else with a login. I can send this link externally. So if I really need Warren to see this right now, I can click a button and send him a link that will automatically die after a certain amount of time so that he can see this critical information. I can also export and save the link off and save this file off as a MP4 file. And we do retain an MD5 checksum when you do that so that you know that nothing has changed with the file.
Yeah, I could see sharing that with if a principal is watching, for example, a school district or an assistant principal and knew the SRO was there, they could possibly shoot over a link to something that was going on in the cafeteria or a hallway, and then they can easily remotely pick that up and view that. So I can definitely see that being useful.
Oh, certainly. And getting an SRO, sending a link to an SRO to be able to see a live event or a historical event is very straightforward with that ability to share externally. You click a link and it just pops up in your browser. But a little more robust is if it's the same person over and over again, right? If that SRO is regularly assigned to that school, you can come down here and create camera-only administrators where I can create a new user, right? Warren at netsync.com, and you can view live and archived footage for cameras that have the first 4 tags saved. Warren gets an email, clicks a button, creates his own secure password, and logs in and can only see the cameras that he has access to. And that's a very straightforward way to generate accounts, and he doesn't need to be in my domain. He doesn't need a laptop that I've issued him. He can click that link, and this works just as well on an iPad or a phone or any modern browser. Chrome, Firefox, even the new Edge, because now it's running the Chromium or the WebKit backend. I don't see any more questions, so I'll continue on. We talked about the searches. Another thing the cameras can do that ties into that IoT functionality is do object detection. So this is happening on camera. They do vehicle and person recognition. That means, and that data can be used both in the search to find only events that have people in them, but also let me jump back to the camera here. That information can be used for reporting, right? How many people came into the building over the last week? You know, which door gets more use? Which facilities do we need to send more resources to? Whatever it happens to be. I have these analytics. Well, no one is using this facility right now. That's probably not that surprising. But I can see how many people came in. This is actually counting people based on object detection. What's even more exciting is this information can be output in real time using MQTT, which is a real-time API protocol, into another solution. So into Olympus or into DNA Spaces to do real-time response. So if you want, when someone walks through the door, you want to detect it's a person, take a picture of them, and save that picture into a file, the APIs are all there to do that. Where you can, it would be a very short script to listen to an MQTT feed, and when it sees a new object detected, take a snapshot, which is an API call, and then save it wherever you want. That's the sort of functionality that the APIs can provide. And they're tools. There are third parties, including Netsync and Netsync's partners in the software community, build a lot of those solutions. We provide
we're working with
a
a few of them right now.
I'm sorry?
I said we're working with a few of them right now to do that same thing. We'll take this output and then be able to do people spacing, people counting, a lot of really neat features for not only retail, but for office environments and things of that nature. So it's really good with these cameras to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah. And having that real-time feed of how many people are in the frame, the ability to pull a big picture of what's on the frame, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. And I did mention roles-based access. So the cameras, you can configure who can view what. Can they make changes? Can they just watch video? They can be people within your environment. They can also be people outside of your environment. They don't need to be part of your domain or part of or on your laptop. If anyone with a web browser, if you give them access, can get access to the video, whether local or remote. So it's a very powerful and very flexible solution that's very straightforward to manage. I skipped over, we do naturally have a video wall, so you can have up to, I think, 16 cameras in a view. You can have as many monitors up as you want and just put another, and 16 per monitor can get you plenty of video. Here's a live view. I can do motion search and take the whole view backwards and forwards. We can also rotate video walls. So if you have a single monitor and you want to see a rotation of different video views that are being focused on, or more than 16 cameras on a single monitor, you can rotate and have a single view rotate through different tile setups. We do have extensive logging in the solution. So here's a log of every time anyone has accessed the video, who they are, what they did. Takes a minute to load. This particular environment is used a lot. And so here's all the different people who have logged in and looked at different cameras and how long they looked at it, etc. So there's a lot of information here that we can use to make sure that the camera solution is being used correctly, to turn on access, and to integrate as an IoT device more than just video, so that we can keep track of the light levels, the number of people, the number of cars that are going in and out of an environment. Any questions about that? Sorry, I'm looking over here because this is where I've got the chat box pulled up. All right, I don't see any questions. So I'll move on to the question about SIM cards. So we don't have any cameras with integrated cellular, but we just happen to have a separate cellular uplink device. I've got one sitting on my desk over here. This is called an MG21. It's an environmentally hardened, IP67 rated 4G modem on a stick. It's PoE powered, and so is the camera, which means you would need a couple of outdoor PoE injectors or an outdoor PoE switch connected to this to give you, this has internal DHCP server and a very simple NAT functionality within it. So you could have this to give you your cellular uplink and then connect a couple cameras to it, and even an AP if you're also doing citywide Wi-Fi, and you're in business. This device on its own does not build VPN tunnels, but as mentioned, the Meraki MV camera solution doesn't require VPN tunnels for kind of the standard functionality. All the video gets retained on camera, or if you're using Meraki's Cloud Archive option, that just streams up to Cloud Archival. And so you could leverage an MG21, strap it on a pole, put a camera next to it, power them both, and you're in business. Easy to deploy, easy to manage, also managed via the same dashboard. There is also an external antenna version if you want a big patch antenna to point in the correct direction to get better 4G signal. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention there's also a variety of wireless access points available. This is getting a little outside of physical surveillance, but I always like to mention it, that there are, the cameras do have integrated wireless. So if you're in an environment where you can't get a cable somewhere, you could use Meraki wireless. You could also use whatever other wireless you've got. You can deploy a wireless profile to the camera. It would need to be plugged in first to download the passwords and stuff. And then you just power the camera with a PoE injector that doesn't go anywhere. So you just have a PoE injector with one wire going into the camera to turn it on, and it will then connect to the Wi-Fi. And the beauty of a Meraki wireless camera on wireless is that it doesn't chew up your wireless bandwidth like a traditional camera does. Because again, the video is on the camera. So we're not streaming a constant bitrate stream chewing up Wi-Fi. The camera sits and waits until someone accesses the video. I mentioned the APIs. Joseph, I do see your question. We'll get to that in just one shake. That'll partially be that's partially here. Heck, I'll do it now. Joseph's question is, how do I get a camera to open our gate based on reading a license plate? And the answer is API integration with the help of Netsync. The camera can detect a car with the API, fire an MQTT, I forget what they're called, push, feed the MQTT feed that there's a car here. Then you would have software watching that API feed, see it, fire a request to the camera to take a snapshot of the view. You'd have the camera zoomed in pretty close, right, so it sees the license plate. So you get a good view of the license plate. You'd want to make sure you work with a partner who knows how to deploy cameras and how to, which direction to point them, the lighting and the shadows, so you can make sure you get a good shot of a license plate so you can then read it. So you take a snapshot, you would then feed that into an analytics engine, either locally or in the cloud, to read the text off that license plate, and then that same piece of software would then check your database and see if that license plate is registered. So that's the sort of solution where the Meraki cameras form an integral part of it, and we provide a lot of hooks and a lot of tools that are then leveraged by Warren and his team and their partners.
Yeah, we would want to definitely come out and take a look at how the gate is, because you're right, you have to mount the camera at a certain angle, a certain foot high, a certain way from the gate. We'd want to figure out what kind of gate controller you have, if you have access control there as well, and a few different things to really make it all go together. But that's the kind of solution that we can provide for you. We definitely would just want to get a little more information, and we definitely could help you out with that.
Now, thanks for that question. This is kind of the end of it, right? I can show a couple of other things that are kind of neat. As far as APIs go, we do have I've got an API kit here where this is just running in Cisco WebEx Teams, which is the messaging client, and I can pull a bunch of cameras that are pointed out the window, pull snapshots from them, and then it sends those snapshots to a cloud image recognition service. It also tells you a joke, because that takes a second. So what do you call a cow on a trampoline? A milkshake. But so the middleware, the API software that I think is even just up on GitHub, went to the cameras, asked each of them for a snapshot, uploaded it to an image recognition service, either Google or AWS or one of those, and now is exporting that information back here to WebEx Teams. So this is sort of a quick and dirty proof of concept. You can take a snapshot, dump it into a recognition service, and look, there are vehicles, there are roads, there's a crossover SUV, I've got parking, I've got some text detected, I've got wheels. This isn't the full solution, but showing you that the API has a lot of capabilities, in addition to monitoring and deployment capabilities, also via the API. The only other thing I'd like to show you is what the files look like when you export them. So let me find my famous export. So when you export the file, you download an MP4. We don't use any crazy format. It doesn't need to be, you don't need a special piece of software. You'll note that we put a title card on the video. That way you know the exact date and time this takes place. We do have motion-based retention on the cameras. So if you're throwing away video where there's no motion, those title cards will also precede each motion event. This is from 2017, my front door. I came home and my trash can was missing, and the city accused me of stealing it. And the city of Dallas was going to charge me for a new trash can. If anyone from the city of Dallas is on here, I'm sorry, I did not steal the trash can. I came back from a trip and it was missing, pulled up my camera, figured out what happened to it. And he drives away. The camera saved me a couple $100 having to buy a new trash can. You'll note in the video, we burn in the name of the camera as well as the date and time. So all that information is permanently part of the file. And like I said, we save a MD5 checksum in dashboard, so you can make sure that that file never gets tampered with. A question we frequently get that I'm surprised no one asked is how long can you retain the video on the camera? I mentioned that the video is stored on camera and it's a fixed amount, 256 or 512 gig. The answer to how much video fits on the camera is variable. So on the camera, this camera is just recording 24/7 because of the schedule setting. It's recording at 1080p at 20 frames a second, and it gets a whopping 7 days, which is not great. Usually not enough for most customers. We certainly offer you that you can bump down to 15 frames a second or 8 frames a second and increase that number at 24/7. But there are better options. Option number one is to use a schedule. If you only need the camera to run on weekdays or only need it to record on weekends, naturally, I can't actually say if it's not my camera, naturally that will dramatically improve the calendar length that you're recording, because then you're only recording 8 to 5 or whatever. But a much better option is here, motion-based retention. So the camera can onboard, it records everything for 3 days. So it's got a constant 3-day buffer of 24/7 video. Anything older than 3 days, it runs an algorithm across to check if there was any motion in the frame. If there wasn't, when I turn on motion-based retention, it deletes it. And so suddenly, instead of having 7 days of retention, this particular camera goes above 90. It only counts up to 90 and then it just says 90 plus. It might even be more than 90. But now I've got over 3 months of retention on that same 256 gig by turning on motion-based retention. So that allows us to have all the video of events that occur and get rid of the video where there isn't anything going on. In addition, we enabled it in areas of interest. So let's say I turn on motion-based retention, but it's still not quite the retention period I want, but I know that I really only care about that doorway. That's what this camera is here for. I've talked to Warren and his team. This is a door camera. It's not covering the room. We have another camera for that. I can draw an area of interest around the door, and now only the motion in that box, and sure, maybe there's another door down here, draw another box, only the motion in those areas will trigger and allow and cause the video to be retained. So now I can even extend my retention out even further. In a high motion environment, I can, if I've got a window and there's a street and a tree and stuff, I'll just not care about that motion. If there's a TV hanging that's always playing, just be interested in the rest of the frame, not that TV, because we don't need to retain video of just an empty room with a tree in the background or a TV that's playing. So this allows us to have a very robust, very highly customizable solution where we can retain a good amount of video with fixed storage on the cameras.
Yeah, and a lot of those things, Chris, we definitely Netsync will work with you. A lot of those things during discovery when we'd come and walk and determine camera locations, kind of field of view, number of cameras, type of cameras, but we would also definitely work with you on camera storage, what are requirements, frames per second, things like that to help provide the best solution for the customer.
Of course. Joseph asked one more question. How do you have someone log in and only be able to see one camera? Where I set up the tags, you could only put that tag in one camera. There was also an option to just select specific cameras that person has access to. So in the same user settings, I could create say that Warren only has access to one camera, right? So this person here, Alan Lee, who actually works for us, only has access to this one specific camera. That's the end of my demo. Thank you all for sitting through it. I'm going to hand it back over to Warren as we talk about Q&A and such. I hope your lunch arrived. Mine will get here in a little bit. I wanted to make sure it got here after I finished speaking. But if anyone through the lunch that Netsync has provided would like to ask any questions, we are here and ready to answer. I'm happy to show any functionality in dashboard.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I don't know, Tim, did you have anything you wanted to say before? And wrap up, I know you've been quiet, so I didn't know.
I wanted to be able to add one thing. It's very important to be able to look at these cameras in your environment, to be able to tell what the length of the distance is between the camera and the objects that you want to see. One of the things that we really strongly recommend is we have a free trial program, and so we really want to let you guys be encouraged to try out a camera. Let's see how it operates and understand the difference between the different camera resolutions and understand the different retention rates and see how it works in your environment. So through Netsync, we strongly encourage the availability and use of our free trial program. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to help out and facilitate that.
Definitely, yeah, it sounds good. We've had a lot of customers that have definitely looked at it, and once they saw it and saw what it could actually do, that they were very impressed and decided to move forward with it. So we definitely encourage that, like you said. So again, if any of you have any questions on anything you've seen or want to learn more about it or any of the practices I spoke with, please contact your local Netsync rep, and we can definitely get that meeting established. We can move forward. If you want to see additional demonstration or trial of camera, please definitely let us know. And if you have any questions, again, please just ask during the Q&A. We can hang around for a little bit and then answer any of them that you may have. I'm saying if not, we can go ahead and give you some of your day back, but we definitely will stay on for just, a little bit more. I know we're ending a little bit early, but just anybody definitely have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Yeah, so Chris, it doesn't look like anybody's definitely come up with somebody. If you do have some, please definitely contact your rep, and we will definitely be able to help you out. But we could probably end the session and let them have the rest of their day back.
That sounds great, Warren. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Folks who asked questions, Joseph, Mitchell, I think those were the two that I saw. Thank you all so much for the questions. It really helps to get some feedback on this sort of thing. And again, if you have anything that comes up, you want to try out a camera in your environment, or 5 or however many, reach out to your local Netsync or Cisco representative, and we're happy to set that up for you. I hope everyone has a great day.